It's 11 p.m. deep in the heart of Ohio. This is Field Investigations with Agent J. I'm here at the desk, files open, coffee hot, and the unknown is waiting just beyond the static. If you've seen something that shouldn't be there, something that makes your skin crawl, something that keeps you staring at the ceiling long after the house goes quiet, then please pull up a chair, turn up the volume, and join me. The chat is live, so drop your encounters, your questions, and your nightmares. No judgment, no filter, because out there, after dark, anything is possible. Let's investigate. Welcome, welcome, one and all. And I mean that quite literally at this moment, one and all. To tonight's show. It is Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, and as I mentioned, it is 11 p.m. We're getting into the thick of it a little bit here today. I thought we would cover the story of Betty and Barney Hill, but I actually want to get a little bit more in there and really refine this for the full thing. So I think maybe we'll save that, and maybe even save it for a call-in night. It's a long story. It's a one-contained thing, and saving it for a good call-in night might be what we're looking for. But as we've been doing on Wednesday, we're gonna touch base, of course, with some updates on sightings from across the country. We are gonna be reading another one. Of the longer form MUFON files. I got plenty to go through. And I thought we would get into some of the things on supposed alien technology that we have and various things of the such. So buckle up. We'll see what we can get, what kind of fun we can have today. I am sipping on tea. You might get a little bit of a hoarse throat, so I apologize again. Real quick glance in the chat. Movie Stud celebrating the last hour's birthday. Happy birthday, sir. Let's get spooky. What year is it for you here, sir? Oh, that one's not wanting to load. I thought it was gonna, but maybe not. Maybe these... So I have 3 articles we'll go over here on alien implants. I think these are interesting. We haven't heard much of these lately, but I came across a file the other night, just surfing the MUFON files in general from the last couple of years, and I kind of ran across 2 or 3 of them, and it kind of just sparked some interest. I mean, luckily, both my experiences were not of that sort where I ended up with any type of implant. But we're just going to jump into this report. This is from April 3rd, 1998. Several years after the surgical removal of their alleged alien implants, 5 individuals courageously accepted to take part in an interview to discuss their before and after effects. All persons, 1 male, 4 females, shared one thing in common: UFO encounters and contact with non-human alien beings. Dr. Roger Lear, a podiatrist from Thousand Oaks, California, founder of FIRST, which is the Fund for Interactive Research in Space Technology, and Daryl Sims, a certified hypnotherapist, co-founder of FIRST and experienced UFO investigator for over 27 years, orchestrated the successful surgeries with a team of competent medical professionals and volunteers. The first set of implant surgeries took place August 19th, 1995, at Dr. Roger Lear's podiatry clinic in Thousand Oaks. Pat Parinello, a 47-year-old male from Houston, Texas, and Mary Jones, a pseudonym by the way, 52, also from Texas, had the anomalous objects appear in X-rays. Although both UFO experiences had no record of previous surgeries. Both individuals were investigated by Daryl Sims of HUFON, chief investigator of the Houston UFO Network, which is all what like MUFON, the mutual part of MUFON, is connecting all of these UFO networks that were established in other states. Or, if you wanted to open a chapter, you could do it under the umbrella of MUFON. Anyway, and referred to Dr. Roger Lear for surgery based on their past UFO encounters and X-rays, which confirmed the anomalous objects. Pat's object was removed from the back of his left hand, and Mary's object excised from her left big toe. All services were performed free of charge. Alleged implants removed from the first set of surgeries were studied by two pathologists and then sent to various independent laboratories for extensive scientific analysis. The tests performed on these alleged alien implants were a pathology tissue evaluation, laser-induced breakdown spectroscopy, extensive metallurgical tests involving a density immersion test, X-ray energy dispersive spectroscopy. I'll get that one right eventually. Scanning electron microscopy, and an X-ray diffraction pattern analysis. Oh, I'm sorry, and an electron magnetic and fluorescence property analysis. Man, another one. Isotopic range tests were also in place, or in progress. Tests are conducted by the National Institute of Discovery of Science, otherwise known as NIDS, New Mexico Tech, and other independent sources. But that's not all. While these unusual objects were being evaluated for scientific study, another set of implant surgeries took place on May 18, 1996. Two women from this second set of surgeries comes forward for this interview and follow-up study. Dorothy O'Hara, a 61-year-old female from Palm Springs, California, and Alice Levy, 40, from Newbury Park, California. Each had similar objects removed from their lower leg. Another woman, Licia Davidson, 37, who had numerous UFO and alien encounters, had a rare crystalline-like object removed from her foot in January of 1997. The findings from these implant surgeries are highly unusual, reported Dr. Lear. In all these cases, there were virtually no inflammatory response. This is not the usual finding in foreign tissue reactions. Normally, foreign bodies embedded in tissue result in some type of acute or chronic inflammatory response, and may include fibrosis and cyst formation. Such was not the case here. Pathology reports of the first two surgeries revealed that the metallic objects were encased in a very dense, tough, gray membrane consisting of proteinaceous coagulum, hemoceratin, and pure keratin. More simply, blood protein and skin cells that are usually found in the superficial layer of the skin. The tough biological cocoons encasing the implants were also found to contain nerve proprioceptors, nerve and pressure cells of the wrong tissue type for that part of the body. These implant cocoons also fluoresced in bright green color in the presence of an ultraviolet light source. I should have pre-read these because it's difficult to just get a pace going, and then they throw one of those words in there, which I can read, but again, when it's just too many The implants from two women from the second set of surgeries did not exhibit metallic properties like the implants from the first set of surgeries. In fact, the spheroid whitish objects did not contain the tough biological outer jacket or fluorescence from the UV light source. These types of implants, possibly biological, also lacked the expected inflammatory response, according to the pathology reports. The crystalline-like object excised from the foot of the most recent surgery also lacked the tough gray outer membrane and had virtually no inflammatory response, as in other implant surgeries. Test results from the first set of implants revealed that the lamellar, needle-shaped metallic objects in question are basically meteoric in origin, containing at least 11 different elements. In an interview with Alien Encounter magazine in July of 1997, Daryl Sims commented on the uncommon, non-rejecting human response to the implants. It seems that the dense, fibrous membrane may have been the person's own surface skin. If this is the case, it appears that the metallic objects were wrapped in a sheath of cariaceous material or surface skin. Nerve fibers then surround the tissue and appear to be attached to larger nerves. The fact that both persons from the first set of surgeries objected verbally and physically could be an indication of this nervous system connection. Mr. Sims believes the indications are very strong that these implants are extraterrestrial in origin, but Mr. Sims concedes whatever the scientists say who have them examined, the objects say, is what we will say. Daryl Sims has stated that a scientific peer review of all tests must be done before specifics can be released. This is the standard course of action taken by any scientific endeavor. Scientific evaluation is our best ally, but the experiences and opinions of the courageous individuals involved in these implant surgeries are equally important. A series of simple questions. Sorry, I scrolled down too far. A series of simple questions were posed to each of the participants when asked as to how and when their implants might have been inserted. Pat Parinello from Houston, Texas, believed his implant could have been inserted during a UFO encounter he had in 1954 at 6 years of age. Mary Jones recalls 2 UFO encounters when her metallic objects could have been implanted in 1969. In the first frightening UFO encounter, Mary commented, I was at a camping trip with my family while pregnant with my third child. Oddly enough, 1 month after Mary's child was born, she had another alien encounter while at home during the night. Conversely, Dorothy O'Hara from Palm Springs, California, and Lucia Davison, also from California, both replied, I have no idea when the object was inserted. Alice Levy commented that when she first noticed the lump on her leg following the UFO encounter involving another witness in San Diego in 1993, I actually noticed the lump. Alice clarified when I discovered the scoop mark also on my left leg after the UFO encounter. If the alien abductors are responsible for implanting objects in the bodies of their abductees, then are the aliens cognizant of the fact that the implants have been removed? So the next question was posed. Did you experience any UFO sightings, alien abductions, odd dreams, missing time, or paranormal events just prior to or after implant surgery within a month? Pat Parinello says yes, an unusual set of events took place with another witness involving an orange glowing UFO one evening about a week before surgery. After surgery, I noticed that my psychic abilities seemed to decrease. Psychic abilities now. Okay. Dorothy replied, about a week before the surgery, I had a dreamlike abduction experience involving many other people in a large locker room type facility, waiting in line for what seemed to be a shot in the backs of our necks. Waiting in line for... Okay. Also, right before an appointment to meet one of Daryl Sims' associates for an interview regarding the implant surgery, I and another woman had a strange experience. It was like getting stuck in time warp. I ended up being very late for the appointment, and then, late one evening after I returned from surgery, I had an alien encounter that I can't recall clearly. Both Licia and Alice did not recall any unusual events soon before or after implant surgery. Mary experienced a rare pain and swelling in her toe and foot about a week before the surgery. At the time, Mary revealed, I knew exactly where the objects were in my feet or in my foot. I could feel them. Prior to that, Mary had no pain or sensation of that kind of area or that kind of in her toe. What was really strange, Mary admitted, was that the moment I stepped out of the car to meet Daryl Sims prior to surgery, the pain stopped. The real question one may wonder about this, now that the implants have been removed, will the aliens come back and abduct the abductees? All individuals except Mary Jones were able to answer the question with a resounding yes. Alice elaborated on an abduction she had 2 months after the implant surgery. I retired to bed due to a headache, and my husband awoke about 1 a.m. because the whole bedroom lit up like daylight. He looked at the clock to reach over to me and found I was gone. Paradoxically, my husband quickly went back to sleep. The next day, I felt very ill. I don't recall anything during the night, but I noticed the next day that my dog had nervously clawed several areas in the house, as if he were trying to escape something frightening. As to changes in health, mood, dreams, or psychic phenomenon after the surgery, all five agreed as to some type of change. Mary Jones simply stated that she felt a sense of peace after her objects were removed. Dorothy commented, I felt a tremendous sense of relief after the surgery. Licia remarked, yes, I had a dramatic and immediate mood lift after the object was removed from my foot. I also stopped having the pain and the weird watery sensation surrounding my foot. Most striking changes were noted by Dorothy. I had several diuretic effect and lost much water weight a week following the surgery. Then my health progressively worsened, and I developed angina and edema. 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 It was a band. This heart problem was a recurring complication from my previous illness I had in my late 20s. I also experienced extreme fatigue and could not concentrate. The illness lasted about a month, after which my energy and health returned with more vigor. My creativity and mental clarity improved remarkably. I'm a writer. I had a startling improvement in my memory where I was able to recall a previous alien abduction experience from 1991. In other words, it was the first time I was able to pierce through a screen memory from an abduction. Although it took me 3 days to process the memory, it was difficult, mentally and emotionally. In hindsight, after the implant surgery and recovery from illness, I felt detoxified. Pat, on the other hand, noticed more subjective changes and simply stated, yes, a part of me which remains hidden has undergone quite a few changes of paradigms. Alice and Dorothy shared a common symptom several months after the surgeries. Alice remarked, about 8 months afterwards, I had shooting pains in my left leg and noticed an implant scar turned bright red and hurt and lasted about a week. Also, that around that same time period, I had a strong precognitive vision that later came true in exact detail. Yes, I also noticed a strange reaction in my leg and implant scar about 6 months after the surgery. I felt the shooting pains in my left leg, especially at the implant site. The incision scar turned bright red for about a month. Interesting. You know, the implant thing is interesting. I've genuinely met somebody in my life that believed they had an implant. Uh, I believed him, and I still do. I haven't seen that guy in probably a dozen years. But he hardcore believed he had an implant. I did see the scar. I didn't touch it because that freaked me out. But I believe him. And these are terrifying. I mean, this is a real test. You guys can go and look this up. Again, those names for the test that did the test were Dr. Roger Lear and Daryl Simmons. You can look up their tests that they did on these people, but fascinating stuff. I'm trying to just flip through a couple of these. One of these is, and it's interesting, and I'd actually be interested in further studies probably. This one on implants and mental illness. Which we won't go deep into. I read this earlier, but the article itself starts with a story about a gentleman who had been both mentally or suffering from some sort of mental illness, possibly, but also claiming that he had an implant and he took his own life. So that's the rub of the story that this guy gives. I'm not going to go into it. It's a lot. But it does have this really interesting summary of scientific findings on alien implants. So we're going to read this list to you guys real quick. And then we'll see what's next on this. But what do you guys think of implants? You think they're real? I mean, what's your view on implants? Movie star, what's your pick? What's your thought on implants, buddy? On alien implants? Implants. It's that time. You know what time it is. So the summary of scientific findings on alien implants: 1. Individuals who claim implant having concurrent psychological symptoms. 2. There is no detectable insertion point for the implant. 3. At the site of the implant, there is no detectable scar tissue formation under gross or microscopic exam. Number 4, there is an excess of the skin, because I can't say the word, proprioceptive, oh, I did figure it out, nerve fibers interfacing with objects. Number 5, the object is covered in a membrane that resists cutting with a surgical scalpel. Number 6, the object emits several frequencies that appear to be used in deep space transmission. I don't know how they determine that, but I'll have to look that up. 7, the object is composed of carbon nanotubes as observed under an electron microscope. Number 8, blind third-party testing from the Los Alamos National Laboratory state the isotopic ratios of the material in question is not terrestrial in origin. Number 9, the fact that the object in question was engineered gives off radio signals and is composed of materials not constructed on this Earth would suggest a sophisticated machine not indigenous to the human body. It's an interesting study for sure. I don't know what to really make of that. I mean, there are things that are very strange. I mean, the question that's posed at the end of this is, could this be fraud? And it includes 3 possibilities. Possibility 1, Dr. Lear, who we had mentioned, is a fraud. Dr. Lear is a board-certified podiatrist. He has worked in the field of surgical medicine for several decades, holding a position as residency director and lecturing and teaching thousands of students. He has a position of authority and only his reputation to lose. He's not profiting from the patients. Could he be doing it for this for all for notoriety? Well, if he was garnering patients and implanting them with devices that defy our current understanding of materials and immunological reactions in a way that leaves no detectable scars, they would be better served by selling the technology. It makes no sense for Dr. Lear to be perpetrating a hoax of this scale. It is difficult to argue that Dr. Lear is finding something and his examinations are consistent with the summary above, or that we just read. It seems unlikely uh, that Dr. Lear is being disingenuous. Possibility two: the implants are real, and Dr. Lear is being hoaxed by some outside entity. Based on the evidence put forth by Dr. Lear, one must concur that the implants exist. Therefore, we must expand the scope of our original hypothesis and take it into account the following to prove or disprove the alien implant hypothesis. 1. Hoaxers are using a material from another planet, or Los Alamos Labs was in on the hoax. 2. The hoaxers are using microscopic scalar antennas, carbon nanotubes, and transmitting a message into deep space for an advance of any technology known to cutting edge science. Number 3. An elaborate fake alien encounter is being set up to fool the victims into thinking aliens abducted them. Seems like an elaborate end to serve what purpose? Fooling people into thinking they have alien devices implanted in their bodies. If this were the case, then we could expect more publicity, geez and crepes, on the subject to market a movie or sell implant scanners. Possibility number 3. The implants are real and of ET origin. In science, one starts out with something called a null hypothesis. This is a statement based on observed data that takes into account the conventional view. Through observation, one tests this hypothesis as being, and then either rejects or accepts it. Before re-examining the NH, let's talk about tornadoes. Do they exist? I've never seen one. I have. I've heard about them, watched movies, and even hunkered down a few times when the news stated that one was approaching. However, outside of a video, I've never seen a tornado. Do I reject those individuals who tell me they exist? Do I stamp my feet and insist that tornadoes do not exist until I see one with my own eyes? I could take this position, but that would be foolhardy. I agree with this guy. That would be a dumb hill to die on. The same is true with implants. At this point, it is difficult to accept our null hypothesis with regards to the implants unless we are going to start denying everything we have not observed with our own eyes. The entire system of justice and religion depend on the eyewitness reports. To continue boldly with the view that tornadoes and alien implants do not exist and remain consistent, you must also reject the systems of religion and justice are both based on eyewitness reports. In accordance with rational view, the null hypothesis in this case must be adjusted to state alien implants appear to exist and may cause human disease. And it's weird that there's a little bit more on that, but you know what I find odd in stating that is, why isn't it, if we're hearing about these things, why isn't it a health concern? You know what I mean? That's just kind of where my mind goes with it. It doesn't seem, and maybe those tests are harder to do than I'm thinking, but there's got to be a test that we just kind of go, well, let's test for implants. Just in case. I don't know. It's all oddball stuff. But guys, for a Wednesday, I think we're gonna call this one a night. I'm tuckered out. My week's been long. I promise you we'll be back to good episodes next week when I can reevaluate my how I expend my energy throughout the day. Now that I will be doing some additional things, I had a great time talking about alien technology with you guys, specifically these implants. We'll continue. I do have more on more technology here that we'll discuss tomorrow, and please look forward to all these other cases that I have been teasing. We have the the focused episode that we're gonna do on Project Blue Book. The entire episode on just the McCaslin case. I have linked it to 6 other disappearances. I'm waiting on a little bit of help. I want to see if I can get somebody to call in that actually has some help for this. So that might be an episode as soon as I can. That might replace an episode. If this guy says tonight's the night, I'm gonna get him on the line. So the McCaslin disappearances. Betty and Barney Hill. That's gonna be a great episode, and it deserves its own thing, and not just a blurb in one of my hearsay episodes. So, be ready. It's 11:32. I'm gonna hit the hay. I'm tuckered out, y'all. Stay spooky and take care of each other. I hope everybody has a night, has a night, but has a good night as well. And I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.